102.9 is WHYL Carlisle. From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Studios, Oldies 102.9 is WHYL Carlisle.
Good morning, the Real Estate Radio guys. You're with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. I'm the real estate broker for brokersrealty.com. And Kingsley, who do you work for?
Well, I work for myself, and I work for all the clients that that come to me looking for help to get a mortgage.
Right.
So, I've been in the mortgage industry for, a little over 20 years. God, it's weird that I can say that now. But the cool thing is over the years in this industry, I've added different technologies, just as most people have, and different phases of, getting pre-qualified for a mortgage. So, it's becoming a little bit more robust, when you call in, to our offices, where we're not only going to just, take your information down and, how much you make. Everybody has that path to home ownership. So it's really kind of an interview process now to find a little bit about who you are and, what makes you tick and what kind of programs that we can come up with to get you where you need to be. So, I'm excited to actually kind of announce that we've got some new credit partners that we can roll right into the process right off the bat if you're not currently ready to go, where we can literally have you ready to go in 60 to 90 days. And we'll be rolling some of that out here shortly. But
so it's Real Estate Radio Guys show today, and we've got a really interesting show because we're going to have on Mike Kennedy from Allenberry Resort. It's going to be a really interesting show because I know a lot of people have been asking about Allenberry and what's going on out there. I want to talk with you briefly, about, where the real estate market is real quick, and we will do some follow-up with that later on in the show. Right now, the market's still clicking along extremely well, and we're still looking for inventory. Personally right now, I have buyers. If any of you have friends, family, relatives, or yourselves that have farms for sale, I'm currently looking for farms in Cumberland, Perry, and York County. If you're looking to buy a farm, I happen to have 3 for sale up in Upper Dauphin, one with an airplane hangar, and we're ranging from about 48 to 85 acres in size up there. So we are looking, but have buyers in hand looking for things, like I said, in Cumberland, Perry, and York counties. So today we're going to be talking about the Allenberry Resort. It's just about 2 years since the property was acquired by Mike and Katie Kennedy out there, and people are, very curious as to what's going on. So this morning we're going to be talking, I believe, with Mike Kennedy. Mike, are you on the line?
I am.
Fantastic. So excited to have you on the show here today because we've been getting I've been a local resident, over 30 years, local business guy, and pass by there all the time. And I know everyone's curious because isn't it just about 2 years ago that you guys signed the papers to acquire Allenberry?
It is, yeah. I think it was July of 16.
So it's almost like your 2-year anniversary. I know not from when you opened, but yeah, wow. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about your background, and then let's start talking about the about Allenberry. I mean, there's just so much to talk about there. It's fantastic everything I see that you guys offer.
Sure. So our background is my wife and I both grew up here locally. I went to Trinity High School. She went to Cumberland Valley, and my family's been in the railroad business for a long time, and that was my path as well. So in addition to railroad construction, we've gotten into buying some real estate in Cumberland County and rehabbing it. And Allenberry was a great target for us. We really didn't know we were going to do it until the last minute, but the fact that there's a 128-home community attached to the resort was the turning point for us. All the entitlements were not in place when we bought it. There were issues between South Middleton and Monroe in getting the sewer figured out and the water and so forth. And so we were confident we could get that done, and we did. And so, you know, the whole of the sum of the parts between the resort and the community is where the real great stuff is going to happen. So we took a year to rehabilitate the resort. There were 22 buildings. We took 2 of them down and rehabbed the other 20, and just, you know, spark new life into it. And now the team that we're putting together is really coming along as a great hospitality team, and we're real thankful for Dustin LeBlanc and his team, what they're doing in the theater. The lodging has really done well. That was our biggest question mark when we were restarting, because we rehabbed every lodging room in the place, was will we get people to come and stay? And that's really outdone itself. And people are very curious about the area. A lot of our guests have come from New York, D.C., Philadelphia, and they really like the Cumberland Valley, and they feel like it's a place that they can come and relax and be able to, go to Gettysburg and Hershey and other spots. And there's a lot of family members from these visitors that live nearby, and they've sort of turned this into their base camp. And so it's worked well. We're well ahead of where we thought we would be, and we got a long way to go.
So I know, being a local resident here for a number of years myself, that it was really referred to here locally as Allenberry Playhouse. But, that's, I know what most of the people knew it here as, or Allenberry. And now it's so much more, with being, Allenberry Resort. You guys have really expanded things that are there for the public to do. I don't think a lot of the people, a lot of our listeners are the older Americans, listen to the oldies station. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you offer there, because you have added in a lot of components there?
Sure. So we believe that the business, the local and traveler, small to medium-sized businesses and associations and so forth are a great target for us, because when you come on the property at Allenberry, you can begin to relax. It's really a very bucolic, relaxing type of environment that people find themselves in. So one of our focuses right out of the gate was to build a corporate retreat type of offering where businesses can bring their teams and unwind and get down to business, but also build their teams out in terms of being able to hike and enjoy the creek. And so anyway, to answer your question, our team has developed a outdoor activities range of offerings that go everywhere from, we have a association with Diacon where we take groups and do the ropes course and the zip line and the swings and everything that Diacon built, and our visitors really seem to enjoy that, and it gives them an opportunity to do team building exercises. We have an association with the Carlisle Fish and Game where we go and we take groups to do skeet and trap shooting. We have a hiking with the on the AT, which is, of course, right at the front door. We have a great partnership with TCO, the fly fishing shop in town. They've been doing fly fishing classes here and guided tours. They take our guests not only on the Yellow Breeches, but on the Latort and Stony Creek, etc., which guests have really been into that. Orvis is a partner of ours, and they are sending classes here. And so there's just so much to do outside. We've purchased a bunch of mountain bikes and kayaks, and we're really happy to see the interest in enjoying the outdoors here in the Cumberland Valley, and we just keep building on it.
So it's becoming more like an all-inclusive resort, not where you've got so many things. There's somebody. It sounds to me like now there's something for just about everybody, every age group, to do there on the property.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and we keep building on it. We are unlike many others. We are wholly realistic, and the property is evolving, and it's turning into something that we're really excited about. So as we add these things, we're adding them based on customer feedback. I love going out and just milling around and talking to guests, figuring out where they're from, what's interesting to them, and then that's what we do.
So I did see. I saw, an article. Kingsley and I were doing a lot of research on, what you've been doing there over the last 2 years here. So one of the things I saw is that you've actually even opened up some of your property on the other side of the Yellow Breeches for some of the local fishermen to come and be able to access it. I remember back in the day, I think there used to be cars parked, all over the resort property with fishermen at times. Correct?
Correct. So the others we own the other side of the creek, which goes into town, and I keep promising I'm going to put in a stone parking lot over there. It's on the list, but the list keeps getting expanded. But the fishermen have been parking over there and accessing the creek from that side, and we're happy to have them, and we ask them to be courteous of the neighbors and not park on their lawn. There used to be cars all over the property, and we're not out, chasing people around, but we do have so many weddings and get-togethers and corporate events and so forth that we have to be mindful of the parking on the property being for the guests. So, but we've found a way to work with the local fishermen as well.
So I know you've put a lot of money into the facilities there. What are some of the renovations that you've actually done there? I mean, I've seen a lot, via the photos.
Yeah. So the property was, we had to start with the water lines. So that'll give you an idea of, a lot of the renovations that were done you don't see. But, it started with all the water lines were old galvanized pipe that needed changed out, and right on up to the, new mattresses and finishes and furniture in all the rooms. So it was, I would say, probably 80% overhaul, and we're still working on, certain finish to the buildings. But, yeah, all the rooms are renovated. The spa in the bottom of the Meadow Lodge is beautiful, and a new swimming pool, just everything.
So, Allenberry, back the last time that I was there, we actually had a company event there, just like what you were talking about, where we actually brought our company there for a holiday party and then the play. So I know you still you have a lot of plays there going on. Actually, I'm excited a little bit about one that's coming up next year. I was telling Kingsley, you guys have Spam a lot. You have Monty Python play coming next year in the spring. But you've got a wide variety of. It's not. You've got a lot of entertainment there. Besides that, can you tell us a little bit about Thursday Night Live?
Sure. So we've been inviting different local bands to come and play Thursday night as a sort of a test case to see how we do with live music. And there have been quite a few really great bands. Last year we had a Rolling Stones tribute band, a Bob Dylan tribute band. The Jelly Bricks came and did their Beatles show. So we're trying all different types of talent, and we plan on really expanding that into the fall and winter in the Playhouse, which I think will be really fun. And then so yeah, we're testing everything, and people seem to be enjoying the Thursday nights, and we got some good weather left here in the year to keep that rolling.
Well, so for our listeners that have just tuned in, and some of our Facebook people have just signed on, this morning we're talking with Mike Kennedy, one of the owners of Allenberry Resort, about everything wonderful that's going on there. So, Mike, can you tell us? I mean, a little. Okay, so you guys do weddings, you do special events. You have lodging there at the resort. It's really a full service type setup, correct?
Correct. So we have a plan at this point. One of our plans to turn Allenberry from what it was, what it is today, into a full world-class resort is we have a wellness center that we're moving towards building out, and the wellness center is going to be a really nice offering for people to get away and work on their health, and everything from dietary to different types of yoga, and even up to autoimmune disorders. I was surprised to hear that there are 300,000 new cases of Lyme disease diagnosed every year, and there's really not a focus on treating Lyme. Where do you go that you can get all the different therapies? So we have a really great partner that's working with us to come up with a plan to build this out, and you'll have therapies that are just, simply world-class.
So way more than a spa, right? We're talking way more than a spa. We're talking about a whole health and wellness type.
So it's kind of like an alternative medicine type thing too.
Well, to some extent, but it's in Europe they do this where people, in our current environment, we run ourselves down. We work and we are always on cell phones and our laptops, and we just never turn it off. And so the idea is there's a place in Arizona, and it's also in Massachusetts, called Canyon Ranch. And what it is get away for whether it's 3 days or 3 weeks, and just sort of get a little bit more focused on yourself and how you're treating your body and so forth. So it'll be a holistic approach to wellness. And what's interesting to me about that is that, I just turned 50 years old, and I look at my life and my wife's life and our family, And I say, geez, I mean, we're grinding. At what point do we really just sort of relax and treat ourselves well? And that's the approach that this wellness center is going to take with guests. And one of the benefits of the wellness center is that we're going to focus a good amount of the attention there on veterans and wounded veterans, coming home that also need health and wellness and so forth. So that's going to be a real.
That actually sounds spectacular.
So are we talking something like working with like Wounded Warriors or one of those entities?
Yep. So our partner that's running this show, he has relationships with all the different groups that help wounded veterans and their families. And oftentimes their families are sort of forgotten, and need extra care. So that's going to be our mission. Certainly we're a for-profit operation, but a lot of the attention that would be more on the giving side will be focused on wounded veterans and their family.
Now, I actually, work with some groups with the VFW, and there's, a different, I don't want to call it an event, but they call it a recharge for, people with PTSD. So this sounds, very interesting. I'm myself, I'm very into that. So we appreciate having different programs. And just a little bit off the record, John and I have become what I would call self-made or self-proclaimed professionals when it comes to alternative medicines. And, so I think
we were talking about having our own show on just that.
Yeah, on just that. I mean, you could look at our kitchen cabinets or our medicine cabinets just lined up with every vitamin you can think of, from mushrooms to roots, and I can pretty much tell you what it does to my body. I don't know about John.
I can tell you too.
Yeah, if you need some consultation, just let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys out and talk through all of that, because it's not a fad, right? I mean, this is future.
Yeah,
people are very mindful. More people. I mean, like I said, I'm 50. I eat the wrong stuff. I don't exercise enough. I've been so focused on building a business and raising a family that I sort of forgot about me.
Mike, I heard there's this place outside of Boiling Springs that you could go to recharge.
Yeah, that's right.
Geez.
Right now I'm mulching, so I can't recharge yet. But.
Speaking of recharging, I mean, we talk about a lot of these alternative medicines. Mine happened to come from the fermentation of sugar. So do you have that sort of facility there? That would be rum.
Oh, it's crazy. We have a great bar and restaurant, and people really seem to enjoy that. I would love to have a distillery here. We have a house on the creek.
Oh, now you're talking. Now you're talking Kingsley and me.
Yeah. I mean, it would be great, but the Pennsylvania liquor laws would not allow that. You cannot have any kind of, and maybe this will change, but you cannot have a retail license and do any kind of manufacturing on the property, whether it's, just a small still for in-house, not for sale outside, whatever. They're very archaic laws, and they were set up at a time when the brewers and the distillers also wanted to control the retail side of it. So I get the genesis of the laws. They just don't make a whole lot of sense today with...
I think we found a loophole.
Oh, good.
I don't think it would be, making. This would be educational classes.
Okay.
We could put up an educational class on how to make your own distillery.
Okay.
Right? So,
well, that would be wonderful.
Yeah,
because, if you read the history of Cumberland County and probably a lot of the rest of the county, the local folks that had any kind of financial success, most of them had a still. So, they were bankers and farmers and doctors and so forth. but most of them sold whiskey as well. And so this still house is from 1790, built by James Crockett, Davey Crockett's uncle. And the still part of it with the big fireplace and everything is intact. I mean, what a great spot to do a small educational, here's how you build a still, et cetera, and here's how you operate it.
Oh, yeah.
What a great, tremendous spot to do that if we could figure out the...
We're definitely going to have to talk with you off the air about that because we do have some definite ideas on. So I want to talk to you a little bit back, about the barn, the restaurant, because back the last time I was there, it was more like a buffet, but now you guys have that set up, but you also have fine dining there now. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the barn restaurant is open for lunch, dinner, and then brunch on Sunday. We're in the process of opening out in the front what we call the mercantile, which is like a coffee shop and merchandise for sale. We're in the process of planning a little cafe there for lighter fare. And so the barn restaurant is has a beautiful view of the creek, has fine dining, everything from the local trout offerings to steak and seafood offerings and so forth.
That's not
and it's been very well. It's been very well received. We have a wonderful burger on the menu with local Wagyu beef. Doc Myers raises the Wagyu beef right up the road, and we work with Warrington Farms on all the rest of the meats. And we're really working with the local people on the produce and the meats and so forth. And I think it's going well. It's been open a little bit less than a year. We started with a small bar and restaurant over in the Stone Lodge, and once we got the Fairfield Hall completed, we moved the offering there. But there's just a whole lot more to come, in terms of what the food and beverage offerings will be.
So it's a little bit more than just farm to table. You're actually locally sourcing a lot of the products and things that you're serving there. Is that accurate?
We are. We have some great CSA farming operations, like right around the corner here.
Well, you guys have a stream right on. You could have the fly fishing, and you could have a contest to say whoever catches the biggest one could have it cooked up and prepared in your restaurant that evening.
Well, we could, but this is catch and release here, this part of the breaches. We'd be breaking some serious laws, and we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that.
We don't want to play that. But yeah, we've had some real success with the restaurant so far, but it's just sort of getting brewing. And it's interesting when we reopened, we hired a management company. Everybody said you got to hire a management company because you know nothing about hospitality. So we did that. Within about 3 months, it was clear that wasn't going to work. 2 months later, we separated. So we're basically 6-7 months into building our own culture and our own team. And, this day and age, people want to feel part of something. And it's much more important to be part of something that's going somewhere than simply taking a paycheck home. And I think my wife and the rest of our team have done a terrific job at beginning that cultural shift and attracting and retaining people that really value what this whole project can be. I look at this as a project. In our business, we do 300 projects a year. This is a really, really fun project, and we won't quit. We're convinced that in the end, Cumberland County, Central Pennsylvania as a whole, we won't recognize it 20 years from now, and we're going to have a a lot of population shift here from the larger metropolitan areas that are within, 60, 90, 120 miles of us.
Absolutely. We're seeing the New Yorkers, we're seeing people from Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, even Georgia, where they're actually relocating to Pennsylvania or coming back to Pennsylvania. But I want to address something where you were just saying there about your philosophy and your company culture, because it's like you're doing the wow type expectations, but it goes beyond just the consumer, the customer, because how you and I got hooked up on this was because you have a raving fan in one of your employees. Okay, because
that's good.
Yeah, so I was actually on an appointment, a real estate appointment last week with Sean House, who's one of your guys, and how he started raving about everything that was going on there at Allenberry and you guys as employers, and that's unusual.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but if there's a buzz from within the people working there, that really does kind of portray to the rest of the people and the public.
Yeah, he couldn't say enough about Allenberry. I mean, I was there. I was actually on an appointment with him with my sister, and he just started telling us everything that was going on out there and how wonderful it was. And a lot of times, in today's work environment, employees look at things as a job, and he obviously didn't look at it as a job.
Yeah. Well, that's really good to hear. Here's the rest of the story that I think is worth telling is that, we all start in different ways. I started out taking all the work that nobody else wanted and the grunt work, and I was underpaid for a long period of time when I was young. But I always had something in the back of my head that said, if I work harder for less, but learn everything I can, it's going to pay off. And so I'm used to doing the grunt work, and I like doing the grunt work, and I like to surround myself with people that see, we don't have big titles and we don't have, a bureaucratic way of reporting. We're all in this thing together, and then when it starts to pay out, we all earn together. I want people to earn like I earn based on performance. I read a book the other day, and there was a quote in it that said, if you want to be successful, you should be the quietest, least intelligent person in the room until results prove otherwise.
That's a great philosophy.
I mean, that's it. It's like, so all these people that want to get something quick and want to have big titles and want to complain about their boss and so forth, they just don't make it in our organization. And those that want to just get in, do the grunt work, not worry about getting credit for it, I think we got a great shot at building a culture where those people will bring other good people, and they'll just get stronger and stronger. Today, we could have a long discussion about the value of a college education. If you, whatever your education is or isn't, if you work with people and you go above and beyond and you have good habits, you answer your phone promptly, you wake up on time, just the basic stuff, you can be incredibly successful in this world.
So for a lot of our local listeners, you have a lot of weekly events out there. So you actually have, is it like Wind Down Monday or something there?
Mm-hmm.
I know you have the music thing on Thursday. And then you have the plays. What plays out there right now?
Boy, I'm embarrassed to say I have no idea. I'm not a very cultural fella, but I'm going to walk on over here to the Playhouse and I'll tell you. It was funny when we bought the place. The Hines family, who really did a great job with the plays over so many years, they were interviewing me about my experience with the theater, and it was a pretty short interview.
So, but I mean, so the plays, I mean, are just about every month or every other month you guys have plays going there, and they're normally like on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's usually the typical schedule. And I did look, on your guys' site, so I can just do some reporting for you. I mean, a lot of those shows, I mean, are almost booked out.
They are. Now, and I give huge amount of credit to Dustin LeBlanc and his team. Here I'm standing here now. It looks like July 20 to August 5 is the Disney's Little Mermaid.
Oh, nice.
And then, September 7 to 16 is the musical comedy of Murders of 1940.
Cool.
And then November 23 to December 16 is The Man Who Saved Christmas.
So speaking of the murders, do you guys do murder mysteries down there?
We do. We had the murder mystery program here, I think, from in January and February of this year, and that did quite well. There's an incredible amount of interest in that from people that have been coming over the years, so we figured, why not? And,
I think that's a blast. And then, coupled with the fact that your food department, if you will, is kind of on the rise. And I'm looking at a lot of photos and your menus and stuff online, and the menu itself in the restaurant kind of draw me in, as opposed to all the activities you've got there. But my wife and I are local, and I've got a map coming up here online here in just a second. So you're kind of placed right in a great area. In this area where you've got a lot of local people that would like to just come out and enjoy the menu and the dinners that you have, let alone, all the events and whatnot that you have. Yeah.
So, Mike, going back to something you mentioned early on here this morning, are you guys actually going to be putting up housing out there too?
We are. We're approved for 128 homes and the adjacent field. And we were close to doing a deal with a national builder, and we decided not to. And one of the drivers for me, I've visited 6 different communities, 4 around Atlanta and 2 in Northern Virginia, to get a feel for what people are doing elsewhere. And as I said earlier on, my biggest concern and my biggest hope for this whole project is that there's a seamless connection between the community and the resort. And so doing a deal with a national builder just would not have accomplished that goal. So we've been looking at these other locations and what other people are doing, and we've hired a architect, land planner from Northern Virginia that's worked in a lot of these other neighborhoods that we're sort of using as a template. And we're really excited about the project that we're going to.
So are you envisioning sort of like maybe like a historic theme type project, where maybe they're 1800s farmhouse styles? Is that what you're sort of thinking there?
It is. That's exactly right. So our project is going to be, they're going to be small cottages and small farmhouses, some attached garages, some rear garages, just a whole lot of charm and historic character that you just can't find anywhere in this location, in this area. In most areas, you don't see it.
No. As a finance guy, I actually find that project very intriguing.
It's one of those kind of things that, just like buying the property and restoring it, if you spend too much time putting a pro forma together, you might run from it. But if you do it, people are going to be like, holy cow, this is super cool. And that's what we're doing.
I think there's definitely a draw. I mean, there are, some other, we'll call them developments that have that kind of town mentality. And I'm sure you know the ones that I'm talking about, where they have kind of like a closed niche, housing where they build the homes, et cetera. But you've got a little bit different dynamic going on, where you've got the resort that you can kind of focus around, that kind of makes it very intriguing. I mean, aside from the fact that you're going to have, hopefully customers that are there all the time, but it really does bring in just a really great dynamic with all of the events and fly fishing and the grounds and whatnot that you have there. I'm kind of excited to see it progress.
Yeah, and what our plan is to do a 55 and over inspired but not exclusive. So, we feel like the high-tax states, not the Pennsylvania's low tax, but the high-tax states that surround us have a boomer population that they're really pushing them out with the high taxes. And, so if you think about what traditional America here locally has done, they have built a product that has been very attractive to 55 and overs, and a lot of those people are coming from out of town. Our product is going to be just a whole lot different. Same sort of mentality, though, is, we want to attract a boomer population that will really enjoy the Cumberland Valley, the resort living, the wellness center, the spa, all the activities, or do nothing at all, But there'll be a golf cart path that intertwines the entire community and the resort, and it'll really be super charming.
Being 32 myself, I'm kind of offended I won't have the opportunity to buy there for quite a few years, being a 55.
Not restricted. So that's the thing, is there will be families, and that's what, in my interviewing of boomers, what I've heard is that, we want what we want in a product, but we also like having a young family or a young couple, or we don't want to be strictly with older people. Now, so that doesn't work for everybody. We will have many that say, well, I don't want it if there's any kids there. Well, it's probably not the right place for you. So you can, anybody can buy there. The product will be geared more towards the boomer generation.
Now, are you going to have, real quick, you're going to have kind of like a, I don't want to call it a homeowners association, but, when you buy in certain resorts, you've got, or ski resorts, et cetera, you've got access or passes to the resort if you're a member of the community?
Yes, we're going to have a concierge level membership, so we will have HOA that takes care of all the snow removal, lawn cutting, etc. But then beyond that, we're going to have a concierge membership where you can call the resort and whatever you need you get, whether it's picking somebody at the airport, making reservations for something, coming and making you an appointment at the spa, and just a real concierge level of living, as if you're living on a resort, wherever, Greenbrier or any kind of place that specializes in the highest levels of treatment.
So, Mike, because I know we're running out of time, but I want to cover a couple things with you real quick. So you guys are also developing like a youth program out there?
Yeah, so they have our outdoor activities person has all different kinds of programs that he's working on. I'm not sure specifically about a youth program. Maybe you're thinking about in the Playhouse. I know they have youth Playhouse activities.
Okay. And then before we wrap up here, and then I also saw that now, sort of switching gears a little bit from Allenberry and back just onto you. So I saw that I guess you and Jonathan Bowser and an engineer, you guys have just formed a new company, or will be here at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, so it sort of speaks more to my belief in Cumberland County. I believe that when you look at the growth patterns and the demand in our county, I believe strongly that a redevelopment of a lot of the different properties in Cumberland County needs to be spearheaded. Jonathan is a great guy who's devoted a lot of time and energy into that direction, and he was interested in starting something on the private side, so I'm helping that. And we intend to be a small part of a major redevelopment of the area.
I think that's just fantastic because, obviously Kingsley and I are very pro real estate, and we do need that. I think the organization that Jonathan's retiring out of, we'll say, they did a lot like with the brownfields in like the Carlisle area. They've done a lot of things, good things over the years that I don't think sometimes the public knows about. But that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, and, I will say that we are very lucky to have the commissioners, the Cumberland County commissioners that we have, the township supervisors and township leadership that we have. I mean, again, we are very unique to the rest of the world. The rest of the communities that I'm familiar with in Northern Virginia and outside Baltimore and so forth, there's just a lot of politicking. I think you have here in central Pennsylvania people that really, really care about central Pennsylvania and believe in the future of it. We've been here for a few hundred years, and we're just sort of getting started, which I think is exciting.
I think it's very exciting. I mean, you've got so many things going on. I literally think we would need a whole new show just to kind of dive into, each of the activities you have going on. And obviously, the local county commissioners and governments are excited to see that it's been revived as much as it has been and growing. So for our listeners, Mike, it was definitely a pleasure having you on today. We'd like to get out to the resort and meet you in person and take a look. What is the best number to call if they want to schedule any event or if they want to make a stay? I mean, where do they call?
Yeah, so once again, embarrassed. I have everything in my phone. So call the resort at, let's see here.
All right, well, your website is allenberry.com. Kingsley put that up.
And the phone is 717-258-3211.
And then I know you guys are on, and we have all this up on our Facebook too. You guys folks are on the Facebook. Their Facebook is www.facebook.com/Allenberry Resort. Even actually, you can just put up there in your search bar, Allenberry Resort. It'll come on. They're out there on all social media. We've seen them on Instagram. We've connected and we follow them with our Twitter feed, with their Twitter feed, and we will be putting up all of Allenberry Resort's websites and everything onto our site and onto our Facebook thing later today. And Mike, we really appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday morning, because it sounds like you're like me. You're a little bit tinfoil hat crazy. You just like adding more stuff on your plate every day.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, right?
Right. Because you just see so many things to do.
You guys, I appreciate you guys taking the time and having the interest. And please call me and let's follow up on the wellness discussion as well.
Oh yeah, no, not just on the wellness. We want
Don't
to talk
forget about the stills.
We want to talk to you about the stills too. We've got some ideas. We've got some ideas and some connections.
Okay.
Thank you
got
so
my
much.
Number.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. You have a great day.
Have a great weekend.
That was interesting. I mean, they've got so much going on out there. I didn't realize about like the zip lines. I knew about the fishing. Like I told you last night, it's a world class fishing area.
I didn't realize they had so much going on down there.
No,
I mean, aside from the plays and obviously the restaurant, everything seems to be it's got a mind of its own where it's just growing. And when they add this wellness center, I think it's going to be tough to get in there.
Right, and I think a lot of our listeners probably think about it, too, for weddings. I've been there, and so has Uncle Al's been there. We've been there for weddings. I mean, what a great venue for a wedding. I mean, or any type of event like that. I mean, there's just so much fine dining, things to do, plays, entertainment. And you know what I like about it? You and I have a hard time going out on Friday nights because we have to be up so early in the morning to come in for the station. What do they have? They have Thursday night live music. That's right up our alley.
Well, how far is that from here?
Oh, mere minutes.
So what I'm thinking is maybe some sort of sponsorship to say, hey, we can do a live broadcast on Friday nights. Stay at the resort and drive minutes to the show in the morning. Or we could actually probably broadcast live, right from one of the venues.
Yeah, there you go.
That would actually be great.
Yeah, so I mean, we will have to have Mike back on the show, with his new venture that's coming out.
And that's again, it's Allenberry.com. For those of you that didn't know. And if you want to call and find out, like for dinner reservations or about to play, 717-258-3211. Yeah.
Right, so great thing. So our favorite home inspector, Mr. John Stas, is on. We're running late today, but we had just had so much to cover there with Mike.
Yeah, we had fun.
So good morning, John. How are you doing? Are you out playing soccer in Bolivia or something today?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, we have Bolivia games today.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Now, in those games, do they like trip all the kids, to make win? I mean, are they a little bit more hardcore?
Yeah, it's real hard. We can't understand. There's a language barrier there, so when the coaches yell stuff, we can't understand what they're saying.
So, real quick before we get into our topic, have you ever done an inspection on a resort?
No, well, I've done inspections on hotels, but never a world-class resort like the Allenberry Resort that you spoke of.
And I imagine...
I remember as a kid going there.
I imagine it would take you a little longer than your standard 2.5 hours, right? For a hotel or a resort?
Yeah, we do all size buildings, so we allot the amount of time necessary, so we basically go by the square footage and the type of structure.
So I know today we want to talk a little bit about home inspection gadgets, right? Go Gadget?
Go Gadget, yeah. Just to give you an example, it's incredible that it's a great time to be a home inspector due to the increases in technology, even just, some things are getting more expensive. The phones, of course, the phones are getting more expensive, but look at what they can do now. Just to give you an example, probably 10 years ago, I bought a infrared camera, thermal camera. It gives you a temperature map. You find temperature differences. So, you can put a gauge.
John, you're cutting in and out on this a little bit.
Sorry.
Yes. So
better?
stop walking up and down the ladder.
Okay, I'll get off the ladder here. So recently, I was sort of waiting for this to happen. I looked into it, and I bought an infrared thermal camera that plugs into my iPhone. It's about an inch long. It just plugs right into my charger plug on the iPhone. It has the same capability, for about $300 that I paid, thousands of dollars 10 years ago. So it's incredible.
So wait. So your phone will work as the infrared camera?
Yeah, just to give you an example, of course, we install radon reduction systems, and we have a property that I'm going to look at that has in-floor heating. It has a water-based heating system with pipes that run under the concrete basement floor. So the last thing we want to do is drill into one of those pipes. So before I go to the estimate, we ask the homeowner to turn on the boiler to get those pipes hot, and then I'll use my thermal camera to take a photo, and I'll be able to see where the pipes run so that, if we do the job, that we won't drill into a pipe. Pretty cool, huh?
That's way cool. With your phone.
Yeah, it's a thermal camera that plugs into my phone. So, I got that to replace one that I paid thousands of dollars for. That's like a full-size camera about 10 years ago.
Well, they have these quote-unquote, weird that we're on this topic, but wellness centers, right? So they've got these wellness centers now that they charge you an arm and a leg to do a body scan. It's a thermal body scan. You can do it with your phone.
John can do it for you for free, buddy.
Yeah, $50. You can start charging $50 at the soccer game.
Make sure you're wearing your box.
Hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, I don't think people don't like that too much when you put the thermal camera on them. But, that's a great idea, though.
Yeah, they charge an arm and a leg to do that. You could probably do brain scans too to see if you ever think that somebody's just a little bit off. Just pull out the old thermal brain scan on your phone and be like, look, buddy, you see you got some issues here. See the bright red? You better go get that checked out.
So, John, what other types of...
That'd be valuable advice coming from a home inspector, huh?
Exactly.
So, infrared for using, like, for heating, for cooling. What are some of the other cool tools you have now?
Yeah. We some of the cool tools we use are we use plug testers, of course, to check the electrical system. We check the electrical plugs as we're going through the home. We use we have thermometers, to test the trigger thermometer, thermal gun, basically, to test temperatures. So when we're testing an AC system, we want to check to make sure it has adequate cooling, or a heating system. Likewise, we check for temperature differences between the heating supplies, to make sure that it's functioning properly. Probably the biggest technology item that's helped us is the improvement in the phones, the quality of the photos, the quality of the cameras. That's probably the biggest thing that's improved over the last, let's say, 10 years. It's incredible for the consumer because the home inspector can be way more effective, using the software on the phones. Just to give you an example, maybe 10 years ago, we'd go up on the roof with our camera, but then we'd have to go back to the computer to download the photos or make notes. Now we can be up on the roof using our phone to take the photos and taking all our notes right there. So it's way more efficient, which, the home inspector can cover a lot more ground.
I want to talk to you back on this thermal camera because you really got me intrigued on that. So right now we have a house that's sold and, was our listing, and another inspector came in, and it's actually got the radiant heat. And this is one of those high energy, like SIPS type homes. It's got R48 walls, R48 ceiling. And it's got the radiant heat in the floor. And the home inspector was telling us that it wasn't getting hot enough. And I know it does. I've been in the home. But they were running the air conditioning at the same time. Would the systems be sort of fighting themselves? If I've got to put the air conditioning on today and I'm trying to heat the floors, would that be, impacting my inspection?
Is this a trick question?
I'm trying to stump the inspector.
Yeah, it is.
Man.
It is kind of a trick question. You guys are trying to stump me, right? Yes. So I find during the summer it's really hard to test the heating effectiveness for, an in-floor heating system. If the house is, let's say the temperature is 75 or 78, even with the AC on, the house is going to be warmer during the summer. And now, you're trying to test the heat difference of just a few degrees, and the heat is radiating through concrete. It's really hard to test the effectiveness of a radiant heat source in the floor like that. Whether it be electric coils under a bathroom floor, or like we were talking about, the hydronic, the water-based system that runs under concrete. It is kind of tough. What we usually do is crank it up the whole way, and then, just look for those temperature differences. That shows that, yes, it's operating, but to go one step further and say, yeah, it's bringing the room up to an adequate temperature, it's really tough to do that during the summer.
Hey, Kingsley actually has a picture of you up on Facebook right now by the EnviroQuest truck.
Yeah, so
we're getting so slick, buddy.
Yeah, so everybody, make sure you give a call out to EnviroQuest and introduce yourself to this strikingly handsome young man.
And it even has their phone number on there, 717-233-6144. Good job.
You like that?
Good job, man. All right, hey, John, we got to run. We're out of time today. You have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. I got to call you this week on something else.
You guys as well. All right, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Till next week.
Yep. It's
real
resorts.
Real distilleries.
Real distilleries. Real wellness. That was interesting. Fantastic show today. Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all next week. We got a great show coming up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit pagoloan.com, brokersrealty.com, and facebook.com/Real Estate Radio Guy. If you enjoyed the episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on the Real Estate Radio Guys.
The greatest classic hits play on Oldies 102.9. WHYL Carlisle.